fans, welcome to Sports Chat, episode number 50 here in the Cougar locker room. Got Josh Parker, the Director of Football Information, with us. Football camp's going on outside. Good number of kids out there.
83 kids, Pat. That's the final the count so far. Unbelievable. You come from 20 last year, 20-ish, and you quadruple that in 1 year. Goes to show what a full off-season can do for a program.
It really does. I've been to camps up here where there's been 20 and 30 kids, and that was the norm. And then you look out there and you see 80 kids, a couple even from a little south of here. It's a good sign of where the program sits right now.
Well, I think plus too, the outreach to the Campbell County Little League program. 75-80% of those kids are from the Little League program. That's a huge asset for us, to having a Little League program right here in our backyard. I'm just thrilled to see that group out there.
Really important to get Little Leagues going. Pat and I were discussing this the other day, how Knoxville has their Little League set up, and they said that Knoxville doesn't have middle school sports, so you get so many players that have just played together all the way until they start high school. And Fulton has its feeder team, and Fulton gets fed by that team. And every high school has its own feeder team over there.
That is true. A lot of people don't realize we're one of the few counties that have middle school sports and elementary school sports.
We're one of the few, especially that have elementary school. You've got us, Scott and Anderson, and Blunt still has middle school sports.
And there's some that would do away with it, but I just think it's vital to the community to keep elementary school sports there because there's continuity there. You get those kids that have been together for 10 years.
My life.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you what, years ago, during West La Follette, East La Follette back, of course, that doesn't happen anymore because they're one school. I noticed a kid by the name of Lucas Nelson. I thought this kid's going to be a huge asset to Campbell County basketball. And he was.
Yeah. He's legit.
And, you look at it, Dwayne Wilder actually posted a picture on Facebook earlier of a Little League championship team that featured Bo Ferris.
Those are important. Build bonds early on in life like that. And, some of my better friends still are just from elementary school.
Well, I'll tell you the team that Matt and Justin played on, Chris DeMont, Derek Marlin, Devin Douglas, almost every one of those guys played for Jeff Mosier in Little League, and they played together all that time. And you saw what they did that last year they were at Jacksboro, and if they'd have had any sort of coaching stability up here, they could have done it in high school.
I think there's strong people at the Little League level and on the middle school level, and I think there's strong leadership up here, and I think it's just good to see everybody working together.
Yeah, a lot of times you could get situations where coaches are willful and they clash with each other. You don't want yours to, but it's good to see the Little League kids getting out there like this. And the coaches obviously probably have say go up there. They're trusting Matt and Justin and your brother and Josh and everybody to run the team.
There were years that I dreaded when I coached getting Little League kids, and there were some years, like I said, with Matt and Justin. It really depends on the coaches, and if the coaches are willing to come to a clinic like what's going on outside right now, that's big. Another big thing going on with it, of course, all-season workouts are going on.
They're in the weight room. They're doing their off-season conditioning. Kids are still showing up. That's the thing. It was fun during the blue and orange, the spring practice period, the blue and orange game. You had 2 sidelines full of teams and everything. But their enthusiasm hasn't waned from the end of May to here we are middle of June already. The enthusiasm's still there. Kids are still showing up.
And
Coach is pointing out to us how his program runs in phases. This is phase 3. It's the hardest one of them, basically, because you've got kids scattered about. You don't go see them in school every day. And they have to motivate themselves to do it. It's good to know that they're actually that self-motivated.
That's one good thing with social media, with Twitter in particular. It's a lot easier for them to keep up with it. You can always tell when Coach Price is firing something out to the kids.
Well, I tell you what, Twitter's the new Facebook, just like Facebook was the new
MySpace.
Facebook is fading quickly. It's Twitter. Twitter's where it's at now, and so many of our athletes are on Twitter, and they're so. It's just neat to see. It's just neat, really, to see them.
That's a big advantage to having a youthful staff. Nobody over 35, basically. And
Except for Coach Jim.
Yeah, and Coach Sweeney. I think he's right around 36 or 37.
Still,
So.
you don't have that 55-year-old coach that wants this Facebook stuff like Phil Former did a couple of years ago. I don't know what this Twitter stuff means.
I'll fight you over Phil Former, John.
We may have to. My glory days to see him get the look. I don't care where we're at now.
God, Miami
Him
Heat,
being gone.
Imagine Phil Former. Oh.
In other sports news, Shayla Goins signed today with King's College out of Bristol. Ninth athlete signed
It's
this
an
year.
amazing senior class. You can buy a college scholarship.
That's just, and Shayla is such a gifted basketball player, and to think she's even better at track, it just blows your
And
mind.
she wants to come back and coach. That's what she's going to school for.
Legitimately, it's amazing to me she didn't win the state title. The girl who beat her, she finished second in the state in shot put and discus. The girl threw a personal record by 2 feet. And beat her. I mean, you see personal records fall by an inch or 2 or 3 here and there, but to do it 2 feet on the day of the state tournament, that girl just stepped up big. Shayla had a great throw that won the state any other year.
And it's good to see these student athletes, once they graduate here, become part of our alumni family. And here want to come back here and coach. I mean, that's huge. That's huge for her.
Well, I mean, you can look at it now with Kenzie Turnblazer in basketball. Obviously, Josh and Matt down here doing boys basketball. Adam up on the hill doing baseball. A good hunk of this football staff.
I mean, they're coming home.
Sherry
They're
Chapman
coming
did that.
Yeah.
The first of the big superstars to do it. Sherry, she did a lot for Campbell County Athletics. Cindy Kristen up here, bringing Kristen, her two state champions, the most successful athlete in Campbell County history.
Yeah, I mean, hearing those student athletes want to come back and lead these programs is huge for us. It's going to pay dividends for everyone.
And that never happened before. I mean, it really
Yeah,
did.
it used to be get out of here and get away as fast as you could. And that perception is changing across all sports.
I think people are finding out the grass ain't greener in a lot of areas, and so I think that's been a big help. So.
And we have one with the nosebleed, ladies and gentlemen. Little sports camp related injury there. It seems.
Brandon Long playing trainer tonight. So.
Good job.
He had a good year in track too.
I expect big
It's
things
just,
to get this
it's
far.
just all the programs, guys, is what it boils down to.
Well, and it's
Baseball turned the corner this year. Many more wins this year than the previous year.
It's
The
nice.
track program.
Yeah.
Basketball made regionals again this
Hopefully,
year.
this coming year will be the year that maybe softball turns.
Yeah, I mean,
It
it's
took
just,
a long time for coaching for it to turn around up here in the long sports, but it has now.
a lot of people probably, if you told them Matt Howell's going to take the first year team to the regionals, they would have said, I don't know, but I mean, he did it, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, that team was a team of destiny, and Matt. Like I said, I don't want to seem like I was ever anti-Matt. Well, we talked about John Higgins being the positive. And yeah, he brought a lot to the table, but looking back, obviously Matt Housen was the right man for the
Matt
job.
Housen was a great choice. It wasn't a choice that you could go wrong with him either from. And John Higgins got a pretty high profile job here.
It reminds me of to put on another partial hat I wear, the school board hat, the selection of Donnie Poston as director, a healer. And I think that's what Matt was in a lot of ways. He knew, nobody questioned the way he knew the X's and O's, and I think Matt was a healer. I think he brought a lot of people together in the basketball program.
He did.
And Ryan Browning, oh my gosh, I mean.
I would have never thought that as girls basketball coach, Ryan Browning would be the elder statesman of coaches.
Yeah, not
Okay.
just here, but in the district now, since
Yeah.
Clay Young resigned over at Powell.
Right.
Of course, Jill Pruitt, Pruitt left a couple of years ago, so
Coach Browning,
he's the dean.
He's been a great coach too. I mean, he's going to take some building to recover this next kind of season.
Yeah, to lose 6 seniors,
Lose those seniors, all your starters. You've got some big.
3 of which have signed college scholarships, so only one in basketball.
And he's playing the
But
role.
Shayla or Christian could have easily won in basketball.
And he's playing the role of Dean Will. He's starting to get a little gray on the side.
He
So that's
is. And there's an off chance that Amber Young still signs with the school.
So now he's losing a lot, but he'll be back. He'll have him back going next year. Matt, big things from him. Got that just key, important, crucial victory over Halls there, make it to the regionals. And that carried a lot of county spirit, county pride after the unfortunate Halls incident.
well, and it's been stadium improvements and stadium and facility upgrades, not just here in the locker room, the high school field house, down below. And in the basketball gym, the floor was redone this
Gym
year.
is beautiful now.
Redone it,
It's
yeah.
new lighting, new floor.
We've always had the best baseball stadium in the region.
it's the best gym in the region now.
I don't understand why we don't host the
With the
regional
exception
baseball
of Oak Ridge,
tournament.
and Oak Ridge has got all the.
I would put the facilities here at Campbell County High School up against any in East Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
I really- Because, I mean, Halls, they have an off-campus baseball field. They play over there off of Emory Road, I think, down the road from, behind the Walmart over there. I would put our on-campus facilities up against anybody in East Tennessee.
Probably the closest on-campus facility to us that I've personally been to is Beard.
Yeah.
I'll give big credit to, school board member here, and you all discussed, or maybe already in tennis boards.
It's been discussed. I think that the thing there is they're wanting to see how much the community is willing to come to
Right.
the table with, because I think the initial cost was the cost of the study was like $100,000, and I think the initial thought was because that's lighting and the courts and everything. But now,
Now, I understand too that once you get the courts together, U.S. Tennis Association will give you a grant for fencing.
and so that would be huge. But and that's something that in getting high school soccer in the
That's the next step. I knew that volleyball was important to get because of obviously the Title IX restrictions.
And with volleyball, it works out well because I think the girls' volleyball season is during football season, and then the boys' volleyball season is during what would be the baseball softball season. So they
Same thing. All those sports work out that way if you look at it.
A lot of programs around here have soccer, and
well, our middle school team, I think Brian Horton coaches that middle school team.
They did well.
Unreal. They went over there. They played over in a tournament. I think out in West Knoxville there a couple weeks ago and did exceptional.
and East Tennessee has got some very successful sporting. You've got the Blount County football franchise. Knoxville schools do well with soccer and baseball.
You have Bearden and Fair, you have both.
There would be more people come to a beer fair at soccer game than there would at times a baseball or basketball game. Obviously, football still has top billing, but they will come to a soccer game between those two more than so than
That
they would
shows
baseball
how
or
it's
basketball.
extremely popular with the kids and people. It's
It really is. It's really great.
Never a dull moment.
And it's working. I'm out there.
I'm just ecstatic with that turnout out there.
Oh, it's beautiful. What's next for Cougar football? We had the golf tournament that was very successful in fundraising.
Golf tournament, the football camp. Now we'll be sending out the Cougar news and notice.
Almost Cougar card time.
Yeah, it's almost Cougar card time. I think they've got that designed. They're waiting on the supply to come in.
Got to
and
get us
them
hooked
to
up with more
players.
Cougar cards because we more than made up for our savings.
Oh yeah. I within the first month of owning that card, I made up for it.
Every time.
Cost at Charlie's Pizza.
Yeah, every time it works out. that
Literally,
way.
it saves you $1 every time you go to Charlie's. My gosh, look at it.
We go to Charlie's.
I hope the lightsaber lens is
I'm
on.
just telling you, I'm not talking about
What up, little doctor?
Oh,
here.
God, I love to eat. Well, Weight Watchers and I we're estranged right now. We're not seeing
But
each
that
other.
Cougar card's got a lot of great deals, not just Charlie's, but just a lot of great deals.
And my understanding is going to be better this year.
It's supposed to be.
They've got a new company doing it. They've got
So,
supposed to have
now
more
folks,
deals.
it's knocking on the door. I just looked the other day and talked about this. It's less than 2 months to Leland Stadium.
From the 4th of July, we're 5 weeks away. I believe is what is
Knox-
5 weeks.
Knox Catholic.
Yeah, and that's why I'm ecstatic with this new role. The radio was fun. The radio was fun. It was great, but I'm excited to do this new role here.
It was time for something
It was
different.
something different, and now history is important, and I felt like it's important to get a hold of where our programs come from start to where we are now. And that's why I'm just ecstatic about this new role.
Right. I mean, literally, we've really not had anybody. And granted, the history of Campbell County football has been a lot more downs than ups. But other than that book that Rodney did,
Rodney's book was the foundation of what I built on a couple of years ago.
right? I
To build
actually have
the
a copy of that. I keep
Yeah.
in easy reach on my computer.
The new edition, we're going to hand that out at our media day this summer.
I've got really, great expectations of you for this role. You stepped into the Cougars, being the voice of the Cougars, and you did it really well. That's big shoes to fill when you took over.
I loved it. It was so much
You
fun.
did
I
a
mean,
really great
I
job
don't
of that
care.
every week.
I don't care if I was the biggest homer around East Tennessee.
Man, you're
I
supposed
loved
to
it.
be.
I was supposed to be a
That's
homer.
what you're
I
supposed
loved
to
it.
do.
Yeah.
Your enthusiastic calls were the best part of it.
And you know what, guys? Not many teams in East Tennessee have an AM station, an AM/local public TV station, an FM station, an online channel, an online media that follows them. throughout East. I mean, this is the amount of media that we
For
have
an
covering our program is
individual
unreal.
school at Campbell County High School, it gets more coverage than any school in
Yeah,
East Tennessee.
there are so many more outlets for us to
You
generate.
would be amazed how those people down the road at AC talk about, what all we're able to do up here media-wise.
You have the La Follette Press, the Christian Journal. You have the VolunteerTimes.com, your web channels, WTNQ, WLAF. I mean,
And,
they have what? The Clinton Courier, down the road.
the
I mean,
Anderson
that's
County,
it.
Anderson County administration told us, we were signing down there recently, hey, we're lucky to be the third story in town because Clinton Courier covers Clinton, the Oak Ridge covers Oak Ridge. He said we had to look for ourselves on the back page. You got the Cougars up there on the front page of everything every week, every day.
Yeah, I mean, it's unheard of. Coverage.
That's a big help.
It's something I've loved every minute of it ever since I've done it. And
In Neyland Stadium, I mean, that's
That's
real.
I mean, that entire, if you watch it every day for about 2 weeks leading up to that, that's on the news every day.
Yeah.
We got
Tennessee
national
orthopedic
news
clinic.
every day.
Orthopedic clinic.
Constantly, the big kickoff classic coming up, Neyland Stadium, all the high school teams. I believe they broadcast some of the games.
I think they do. And
I used to cover, I think, most of them.
right, and then you turn around and look, we're not being thrown in, against just some random team. We're playing a powerhouse.
Knoxville Catholic is one of the 2 or 3 premier schools in all of Knoxville.
Absolutely.
And
They've got a UT sign in on the team.
They had a UT signee for this past year.
And,
Okay.
we had a good scrimmage against Seymour.
Right.
People against Southfield, that was ecstatic. People, the buzz went up a little
Well,
bit.
I tell
the
you.
orange and blue game. What if we go to Catholic and play them hard.
To go do that well against a Clark Duncan coach team in South
You look at Catholic and talk about playing them, and it's probably going to be, you may know one, it's probably the first time Campbell County's ever played them.
Absolutely.
I'm
I
almost
think it
positive.
is.
It'd be a good chance. Catholic had a top 10 NFL draft pick this year.
Yeah.
The fellow went to Notre Dame.
Yeah, Harrison Smith. Yeah.
That's an NFL draft pick, folks. That's the kind of program you're playing against. They're in the top 5 of the state. Their players go to Tennessee, to Notre Dame, to Southern Cal. And the Cougars going to be out there in the middle of that giant stadium playing against that.
Unreal. The house that Robert England,
I-
the general.
I can't imagine I'm finally going to be actually on that field.
Yeah.
As not, some rowdy fan that's jumping around.
We may tear the goalpost
David,
down
the
just for old time's sake. I figure the 3 of us combined.
I think we can take it down. I don't think we got anything to worry about there.
We will just wear Anderson County shirts.
Oh, I mean that would be, and then you open up with Seymour. At Cumberland County is probably the longest drive.
It is, and I've done the at Cumberland County drive on a bus before.
That's not a bad drive at all, though.
When we coached up here, we played Cumberland County. It's not even a bad ride on a bus.
I'll say that I got faith in the Cougar Nation. We were at the Jelly Cup game against Wartburg a couple of years ago. Wartburg's having a good season. Wartburg is out in the middle of nowhere. It's just a far drive for them on some bad roads. And all interstate to come on.
Yeah.
There were 500 fans on the from Wartburg.
And one thing that
And about 12 from Jellicoe.
right, and one thing that we're going to work on, one thing that I'm really going to focus on is getting the address to our away games. Direct.
I actually always have the
Just,
address on my preview.
Yeah,
when
just
we play an away
something
game.
to give our fans. That way they don't have
Put
an
that out
excuse.
there,
not to do
tweet it,
Yeah.
stick it in your phone, fans, and your phone will take you right.
And one thing, Pat, I'd like to encourage them to do is, if they're interested in receiving the little news and notes thing, the newsletter that we've been sending out to the media, if they're interested, I wish they'd comment on the Facebook page or something, their email address. That way we can get that to them, because that's one thing Coach Price really want to do is the more transparent, the more open that we are to highlight the good things about the program. And that's what we
I
want to do.
noticed there was a lot of likes on that Cougar fan page out there, so.
And we're going to have a website coming this summer, a CCHS football website that'll, we've looked at a couple. Oneida has a really sharp web page.
Halls has a really nice.
Yeah, and so we're hoping to really do this thing right and really do it. We're going to have our own YouTube channel later on this summer. I hope.
We talked
for the
about
game.
that
So
with Coach
that's
Price.
one thing Coach has really put a big priority on.
You all are working towards everything going about the right way. It's just like the Heat down in Miami, they're going about the right way. They're in the NBA Finals. LeBron's going to bring home some gold. Bring home some diamonds.
Can he even be called King James at this point? I would think Popper James would be more appropriate. I've got more gold than he's got.
He's a big
Right?
crown son. I don't know, he won 4 straight state high school championships. Not much success.
I got an eighth grade energy ball gold medal off of that.
That's more impressive. He's calling you out.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like a one-on-one.
It's amazing. You know, when you watch Kevin Durant with Oklahoma City, that's the same guy that Chris Lofton shot that three from.
You're
inside
right.
Texas. Unbelievable that Durant has just made such an impact in the pro. And you know what? I like to talk smack about LeBron James. Great player. Unbelievable.
That's
And
what
he's
I thought.
eventually, his
He's
time's
a
going
great
to come.
player.
They're just the easy villain right now.
He's a villain because of the way he left Cleveland. You know, and
Well, let's be honest. Who doesn't want to leave Cleveland?
but he's never
Drew
going
Carey
to be
left.
anything in the NBA great circle. It doesn't matter what he is because he left the team. You know, Magic Johnson, he arrived in a fortunate situation with the Lakers. But even when Kareem would be out for games with injuries, you know, like he got the 42 points in the big finals win over Boston. And the great players make that indelible moment, and the team is clearly on their back.
You know, I think another thing is what makes the Heat the easy villains is not so much LeBron, but the fact they cherry picked Wade and they cherry picked Bosh, and it's just, you know, they went out and they cherry picked, which of course any smart GM would do. But
The bad
you know,
part of it too is Dwayne Wade himself tends to be a little bit mouthy towards people a lot of times. He will complain about the same actions that he takes. Like recently in the playoffs, he complained about Indiana celebrating the win they have in there. And you know, you watch him, he acts 4 times worse than him.
and you know, they said that during the Heat Celtics series, the top 3 cable games ever on cable was Game 7, 4, and 6. That's Game 7 shattered all the cable records for basketball on cable.
I wonder how many tweets per minute went out.
Oh man, I mean, it was.
Yeah, it's through Twitter I found out Oklahoma City had a pro basketball team. It's through Twitter last year I found out Memphis had a pro basketball team.
And Memphis has been on the cusp the last 2
Yeah.
years of going to the next step. You know, I mean, I tell you, people who discard Tennessee and their pro athletes ability. You know, a lot of people talk smack. But I tell you, Nashville with the Titans and Memphis, you know, the basketball team down there. I mean, I'm telling you, Tennessee's an attractive pro
Hey,
Tennessee.
people love to live in Tennessee. Rich people, pro athletes, all content.
Absolutely.
You know, I just talked the other day about the area around Nashville and Brentwood and those areas.
Bell Meade, Brentwood, all the
Franklin,
Franklin.
just highest per capita. I think it's the top 5 in the nation. It's like they and Beverly Hills and a couple of counties from that.
You know, Williamson County, I think, is the fifth most wealthiest county in the country.
Tennessee's a very attractive place to live, and you know people say that they don't have good high school football in Tennessee, but you do have good high school football.
You have great high school
The
basketball.
basketball's amazing. We listened to the radio the other day on Sports Talk. They're naming off like the top 20 basketball prospects in the country. College. I mean, 8 of them are from Memphis.
Yeah.
You know, I think Concept Moore can get a couple of those guys to go along with Jarnell and stuff.
Oh man, I think the key player for him is the kid out of Memphis, 6'7", 6'8". I think his last name is Nichols. Yeah, Austin Nichols. He's the big get. If Concept can get him in, then they're saying that could be Jarnell Stokes like as far as going into
Speaking of
Memphis.
Jarnell Stokes on that same program, they were talking about Jarnell's little brother and his, what was his, 14 and under team?
He's 14 under 10. He's got to be a freshman this year. He's 6'6", wears size 19 shoes.
That's unreal.
Hopefully he'll follow in Big Brother's footsteps.
Sounds a lot like Eric Berry's twin brothers, you know, on the football
Yeah.
side of it. You know, his twin brothers down there in Georgia. Hopefully, Coach
Hopefully they still
Dooley
love
offers
Tennessee.
eventually.
If Jordan Dooley's still here when it comes time for that, we'll see.
Hopefully we can agree on.
He got to win 8 or 9 this year.
I think 8's the minimum. But what I'm afraid is going to happen is I don't think he'll lose 6. I don't think he'll win 8. I think we're going to have a miserable 7-win season. And
He's
the same hysteria
I don't
that's
think
developed last
You
year.
know, they don't have there's not a big giant amount of loyalty. They'll say if that happens, Tennessee better be willing to back up the Brains truck and spend the money. I'm tired of not spending money. You've got a 105,000 seat stadium.
I'm
The
not.
top 5 athletic budget. You got to spend money.
I've never been a fan of Dooley, but you know, and a lot of people, a lot of times think you don't like Dooley, you don't like Tennessee. That's the most ridiculous statement ever. But if Dooley can win with Tyler Bray, Justin Hunter, and Derrick Rogers, you know, after all the chances
What's a lot
Derrick
of
Rogers
name
has
that's
gone.
coming in?
Dooley
Ayers?
himself.
You got
Is that?
You know, Dooley
I'm
himself
drawing a
said
blank.
it.
I am too. I can see him in my face, but
Dooley said, "If no more excuses." That's what he said last year.
and I'm telling you, the Kentucky game last year just set the field to fire. I mean, I'm impressed. I'm impressed he survived that. Because
That shaved a year off his rebuild.
I agree. He went from 4 years to 3 because of that one loss. I really did. I mean,
look for the Cougars though first in Neyland Stadium, and hopefully we'll see all of you there.
I think the schedule is on the Volunteer Town's website.
I just
saw
I put
today,
it up
so.
this week.
And
Well, late last week actually.
thanks to information, County Information Director Parker here from the Cougars, coming on. Busy, school board, work.
Got
You
your juice
He
flow.
does it all.
You
He
talk,
does it all.
you talk about a couple of tough hats to wear in the electric department by day, school board by
Maybe
night.
we'll have a big power outage here.
Hey,
Let's hope
thunderstorm
not.
rolling
Let's
through
hope
tomorrow.
not. Let's hope not.
Fans, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you soon.